Okay, welcome to the CourseCREEK show. Before we get started, I want to talk just quickly about our sponsor, LearnWorlds. Our implementation managers spend a lot of time working on learning management systems. In fact, they're agnostic. They can build on any system. But feedback from my own team is that LearnWorlds is their preferred platform, and it's our clients' preferred platform. And I'll tell you a couple of reasons why. Number one, it has the best suite of interactive features. For example, they have a really cool interactive video system that no other program has. You can bolt on a community. It has all kinds of different options for assessments, quizzes, tests, and that sort of thing. And it's the easiest learning management system to design on. So anybody that needs to design on these platforms, and we all do, you can be assured from my team that the design elements and the templates with LearnWorlds are fantastic. And the last thing that I like to talk about in regards to LearnWorlds is it is SCORM compliant. SCORM simply means that you can take the lessons inside LearnWorlds and bundle it up, and it gives you portability for enterprise licensing opportunities. So those of you that are interested in B2B business opportunities, LearnWorlds will work really lovely for you. It's set up for large enterprise deals if you're interested. All right, let's get on with our show. All right, I am super excited about our interview today. Today we have Katie O'Grady. Katie O'Grady is an Emmy award-winning director, actor, producer, writer, and she is also the founder of Acting for Kids and Teens. And well, CourseCREEK helped her put her course program together. And this is our opportunity and your opportunity to get to know a little bit more about Katie, her school, her courses. And I could go on, but I'm going to let Katie speak for herself. She has an amazing resume. So let's get on with it because this is going to be great. Katie, thanks for being on the show. Really appreciate having you here.
Hi, Robert. Hi, everybody out there. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited.
Yeah. So brag about yourself a little bit. It's okay. Tell us a little bit about you. What are you up to these days in the acting world?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny. There's always that point as an actor where you want to tell everybody everything that you've ever done, and you also are like, that feels weird. But I am really proud to have worked on some really wonderful projects with some incredible people. And some people might know the show Portlandia. It's kind of a little niche show that was very popular still is on IFC. And I'm all throughout the 9 seasons, including the Put a Bird on It episode, which is kind of a fun one. I've also worked on Grimm on NBC and Leverage with TNT, and done some fun Netflix things with Everything Sucks, Pretty Little Liars, and just had a really great, wonderful run with some features and dozens of commercials, hundreds of commercials, actually maybe 1,000 at this point. It's up there. I've been out there for a while hustling.
Yeah, recently we had another Zoom call in preparation for this, and you were dressed up and looking like a doctor.
Oh, I know. It's always interesting. You never know. I mean, I've also looked like a meth addict at one time, and I had to leave set with all this stuff on me. I had to stop at the grocery store. I've gone to my kid's doctor appointment dressed like a blue fairy, like full blue fairy sparkles. I mean, if you're an actor, you're just like, you're not afraid to show up in costume really anywhere.
Funny. I have an interesting question outside of our prepared questions that we did here and set up for you. But I'm just curious, how much of your time is spent on directing versus acting?
Yeah. Well, so I've been acting for, 22 years now on camera and television film. And about 5 years ago, switched over just knowing that I wanted to move into directing and things like that. So it might be 50-50 at this point. It's getting pretty close to 50-50, and it's been really wonderful. I'm actually in pre-production for a short film that we're doing that I wrote and I'm directing next month, which is really exciting. So that'll be the first time that's something that I've personally written that I am bringing to life. So that's a big deal for me right now, and is crossing over, kind of wanting to get into more directing TV film instead of just commercial content, short film content.
It is a big deal. Congratulations.
Thank
Is
you.
it, can you share the name of the project or is it still
Yeah.
top secret?
Oh, no, absolutely. I'd love to share. It's called All Over Everywhere. And it's about a group of high school teenagers who all end up in the gender neutral bathroom. And a party ensues, and a lot of things go down in that bathroom that is actually based on real life from my students who told me about high school bathrooms. And I was I was like, this is like a movie. So we took that and wrote it, and it's a really fun one. Yeah.
That's a great topic, very timely. Good idea.
Well, it is. It's interesting, and we have a lot of fun with it too. You know, it's a comedy. It's definitely a
Oh,
comedy.
okay.
So yeah, we're going to be shooting that next month. And you know, it's been so cool, Robert, because as you know, like we've worked with thousands of students over the years, and seeing them go on to make their own films, and then now having them in my work and my commercials and my films, it just brings me so much joy to see like the student really getting to become what they are dreaming, what they've come to us to become. And so that's something that I really have a lot of joy in when I see that on my cast list.
No doubt. There's a huge amount of pride that goes into looking back and in a sense, sort of looking at the legacy that you contributed to.
Yeah,
Right.
really is. And I remember some of these kids coming to me like, oh my gosh, one of my students specifically, Jessica Barr, came to me as just like little young girl's braces. I want to be an actor, and now she went on to make her own feature film last year, which sold, was on demand, sold to Showtime, and she's in producing her next feature. I mean,
Wow.
it's just wonderful to see that. Yeah.
That's great. I also have some students that have done some amazing things as vocalists. One thing that's not such a big deal, but sort of fun is I have a way of holding the microphone that is unique that my students pick up on. It's really fun to go out to like Facebook and YouTube from time to time and see pictures, and they're holding the mic the way I don't. So I got the entire world holding the microphone in a special grip. I'm particularly proud of that.
It's your special touch. Yeah, that's so sweet to see. It is, and like I think there's ways that we do things that we really believe in, and seeing that like come to life and work for students is really impactful. I think I certainly am a deep lover of the arts, and I believe that the arts should be based in truth, and then we live in the imagination, like Sanford Meisner said, right? So it's really special to be able to carry that his legacy on, a great teacher, Sanford Meisner, with the young generation. Yeah.
So speaking of our students, speaking of your students, let's talk about your students. Tell us about acting for kids and teens. You have this super successful acting studio
Yeah.
in Portland that is now available from all over the world, which we'll get to in a moment. But so what I have here is what is your service and what kinds of challenges does your studio help solve for these young actors and their families? Please.
Yeah. It's interesting because I never really think of it as a service, but it is, certainly. But when I started it, it was for my daughter who wanted to be an actor, and I signed her up for some acting classes in town. And I really quickly learned that it just wasn't realistic to what an actor does for real. And I knew that there needed to be a place that young artists could go that truly dream of being in TV film. And I'm all for like getting into theater classes and being a tree and being a puppy and exploring. But in this case, I wanted there to be one place where kids and teens and families could go that wanted to help navigate the television film world, wanted to perform in television and film. And, a lot of parents just come to us and they're like, we don't know where to start. And, I'm like, well, with us, you're doing it. Everything that you need to know, you will figure out and learn along the way with us, because that's what we're set up to do. So I would say, as far as a service goes, like, we really, as a service, provide peace of mind as a service, peace of mind that these kids are getting into something that, is what I have done, is what I'm doing. It's what my daughter did. And it's a place that questions can be answered while dreams are being made and art is being discovered. So it's really both the business of television and film acting, and the development of these young artists that I so proud continue to go on for, I hope, their lifetime and be artists. It's not that I'm wishing for them to be stars, but I am wishing for them to have art in their life for the rest of their life, because I believe it will heal them and save them and grow them and make them happy.
Read it well, and I kind of get something you're hitting at there, and we have to be delicate, but I think that what I've thought I heard you say a little bit, something I have a little experience with as well, is there's this program or access or training out here that will get you some results. It's good. It's got some good merits. It'll get you some results. There's some good stuff there, but it's not really going to get you to where you want to do or want to be able to do. In your travels, do you sort of feel like, yeah, well, you come to my school or my studio and we'll really, it's almost like I'll guarantee you that if you do the things that I'm working on, because I'm Katie, I've been on TV movies, you're going to actually get the results that you're looking for. Was that sort of what you're hitting at a little bit? It's just a level of confidence on the results that you can produce?
Right. Well, it's interesting. I do get nervous about some acting studios because I think they teach kids bad habits. They teach them to act and emote. And that's not what people on the other side of the camera, casting, producers, directors like myself, want to see. We want to see kids and teens being kids and teens within the context of the setting and character that we've given them. So to do that, it's very specific, and you have to train as if almost like you're an adult, because you're just training in an acting technique.
Yeah.
So I actually do get worried about where they train when it's not with us. And certainly I'm sure there's some wonderful acting studios out there for kids that feel the way that I do. But I always say, like, my heart is so full and so big. I have so much to give away to all these kids that I put every single ounce of love and thought into this program. And since we've been doing a successful program for 13 years with thousands of students, we do know what can be accomplished if they stick with it and if they don't give up.
Hello, I want to talk to you real quickly about a learning management system that CourseCREEK recommends quite often. It's called LearnWorlds. You have the opportunity on LearnWorlds to license your content to large organizations. LearnWorlds has design templates that look beautiful, fluid, and silky to the eye. You can give your students badges and seals and do a lot of fun things to encourage them to keep moving on. So if you're looking for a great learning management system, we do recommend LearnWorlds, and of course, we can help you put it together and get it on its feet. Thank you. Right. So is there a difference between training kids and teens versus adults?
There is a difference between training kids and teens and adults, and let me tell you what it is. Kids and teens train quicker and more easily. I also train adults. I have a full program for adults, and it just takes longer. And what I can do in a 2-hour class with kids, I need 3.5 hours for adults. But oftentimes through my program, I was the only coach for years. Now I have a staff, and I'm not as I'm doing online video series like this that you help me to life. But I would do the same lesson for the month, and so approximately what I was teaching, one class was every class, including adults. And you'd be surprised at how much quicker kids and teens can get it. You just talk to them a little bit differently. You reference videos and movies differently, or songs differently, or they don't want a John Denver reference. Any kid and teen watching this is like, who's John Denver? So I do have to keep up with pop culture quite a lot. I get lists from them about what should I be watching. I watch all their shows. I use their language. So in that way, it's different.
Yeah, I've had a couple of experiences like that myself as a voice coach. It's like, the way to do this is, let's do vibrato sort of like Barbra Streisand. Like, who's Barbra Streisand?
My hero is Barbra Streisand.
Are you kidding me? Or we could let's bridge into the head voice like Steve Perry from Journey. Steve Perry. Who's Journey?
Yeah. Oh no.
I'm like.
Yeah, I was playing a Prince album when they all came in one time, and just to warm up, I always have good music on. I'm like, I'm gonna lay down some Prince. And they all came in like, oh my God, this is pretty good. Like, who is this? I'm like, don't talk to me. I don't know who Prince is. I don't know if I can help you. But then I took the other. I was like, I will educate them.
Yeah, I'm not that old, am I? Come on. Just stop. Stop. I don't like where this is going.
It was a dark day.
All right. What are 2 or 3 pain points that kids, teens, their parents, families will come to. For example, if you get an email or a phone call and they're shopping for acting services, you and I both know there's like 5 questions that everybody asks. It's see it coming, you know it's coming. So I'd like you to maybe address some of those like 2 or 3 top pain point questions that everybody has, and maybe we can answer that for them right here on this video.
I have had the same questions for the last, I think we're going on 14 years or so.
Yeah.
I mean, really, since I've been acting, because for over 22 years, adults, parents will ask me, hey, and it's the same thing. It's how do I get started? How do I know if I'm being scammed? When can I get an agent? Do I have to move to LA? How do I get on Disney? Those are really, there's a lot of concern for parents that who are not maybe artists or did not come up through the, theater or television world. And I relate to that because I did not come up through the athletic world, and I had 3 athletes in my home that I had to figure out and navigate. And I always felt very like confused and am I doing the right thing? And so I relate to those questions a lot.
How do I know I'm not getting scammed? That's the one that sort of pops out at me. How do they know they're not getting scammed?
Yeah. So one of the big things is big promises. People in our industry don't do that. We do not do that. We're not going to blast out to you that you're going to be a star or that all these stars are involved. And if you just do these little steps and pay this little amount of money, you can be involved too. Big, what we call cattle calls, big, come down to the expo and pay this registration fee. And your kiddo will be seen by, and then they plug like the big agent or the big director. Now, some of those people get involved with that because they really do think they're helping, but they are being paid to do that. So they're being paid for their name to be used, or sometimes it's just a flat out scam. So what I like to teach is that there's no quick way to do this. And I kind of feel bad and sad for actors who do get discovered quickly and overnight. Rarely happens, but when it does happen, I feel bad because they don't have those lessons learned. But I say the first step is you got to get into the studio or online with us, and you got to figure out, what to look for, how to train, how to be an actor, most importantly. So for parents, if you've decided to go down that rabbit hole and you show up at one of those auditions, just know that likely they're going to tell you that your kiddo is amazing and they see real star potential. And you're going to need to spend a lot of money on headshots and a lot of money on lessons and a lot of money for all these things. And if you've gotten that far, it's okay. Just say no. We've had parents spend $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 chasing that dream. And that's not the way it's supposed to be.
Or check in with you. Seriously, maybe check in with you, maybe an email or a phone call or something.
Absolutely. We get a lot of parents that will send us a notice. Sometimes I can spot it right away. Other times I can make a couple calls, or I can read between the lines. But just really in general, I tell parents, like, you don't wish that for your kid. You want your kid to learn the skill set. Learning a skill set of acting is so valuable for so many things, not just being on TV film, but giving great speeches, being able to interview, being able to like have confidence and feel good about yourself, being connected with a group of people who are like you can really save lives and save kids from going down really dark paths. Because as we know, artists are sensitive, and we need art around us. And we need to be expressing it in order to feel good. So really, we just want parents to be connected with the studio, and then they start to figure it out. You start to learn the world slowly.
Great. So you have purchased, or I'm sorry, you didn't purchase really so much, but created 2 brand new self-paced online courses. They're running 24/7. They encapsulate a lot of your wisdom and years of experience in a video-based online course. Go to your website, purchase access to this video lesson repertoire. Can you tell us a little bit about your online course?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I've wanted to do an online course for so long because, there's a lot of kids who call us. We've had kids fly in from France to work with me, or, We've had kids fly in from other states to work with me. And I just feel like, gosh, I wish I could just save you that money, because it really does take a year or so to really like get deep into these techniques. And what I was able to do was record about a year's worth of teaching in one series. So you can be at home and you can be going through it. And then we did so many, downloadable packets for just extra support and also just starting to get used to the language and what's okay in the business and then the fun of acting. We do break down like TV scenes and warm-ups, but this was important because of the number of students at this point that are reaching out to us from either other countries or other states
Right.
that want to be part of, acting for kids and teens. We really were yearning to give them that support.
Yeah, right. So it gives you instant sort of international exposure, access to your training outside of the local Portland area where you're going to just dive into the car and drive down to the school. You now you're available to 3.5 billion English speakers around the world, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And people might be surprised that Portland, Oregon is one of the top places in the nation to come film television, film and commercials and voiceovers. So
Okay.
the amount of work that takes place here is pretty awesome. So we really have a lot of, skills and practice working with television and film actors. So we were able to then say, this is working, this is going so well. We want to bring that to other areas, not just this area. I spent a lot of time in New York and LA and I'm trained in those areas. So it was also important that we offered training that was the quality of, actors that are living and breathing and working in LA and New York.
Yeah.
And now with Zoom and all these abilities, we can also do lessons and privately get on with students and guide them through their personal careers of how to do this thing. There's no answers when you go try to figure out, how do I do this? What's going to happen? There's just too much information. So narrowing it down to really how it works in the industry and then narrowing it down sometimes one-on-one can really help save people a lot of money and time and bad tips that they might be getting out there.
Now, Katie, there are two courses that we worked on to help you build. What are the titles? What are the names of these courses? And what, if you could give folks a little bit of a view as to some of the lessons, what is my kid gonna learn when they take, what are the lessons? Give us some examples, some of the lessons and the name of your two courses.
Okay, well, the one I'm really, really excited about is how to audition for television film, because I feel like, man, no matter where you're at, you might have an opportunity to be on television and film with no acting experience yet, but you don't know how to audition. You don't know what it's like with the professionals in the acting community, how they're accomplishing that. So that's just the mini course. That's the little little appetizer, the little treat that we threw out there, because I find that so many people are, maybe even have been practicing acting and working on acting and they still don't know how do you audition. So in that one, you are literally going to learn everything about auditioning, and it is very technical on how to do that, but it's also very simple. We break it down and we have a good time. And I have a student, Kyla Brown, who jumps on there with us and shows us how to do it. And then the other one is, I got to thinking, I'm like, I really do need a second course that's really about acting and the basics of acting. And, and then even if you have some skill set, these are the fundamentals that need to be repeated and repeated and repeated. And you might want to watch it a lot of times to just let it sink in. In acting, you don't hear something one time and you're like, well, now I know everything there is to know. It's repetition and it's continually listening to the language and the theory. So in that series, we both work on warm-ups as well as how to pick a want, working on who am I, where am I, what am I doing. I do a whole segment on how to cry, which is another really big question I get asked a lot. I don't know how to cry. You will after you watch that. It's so you can be a working actor right now and maybe just need to go back over some things and maybe fill in some blanks. We also talk about the business as always. And just, you guys, I think sometimes it's just encouragement. We need a little encouragement. And we talk about that a lot. I talk about that a lot because I know how hard it is to keep going. So it's really the one-stop shop. And we also incorporated the audition segment in that one as well. So that's
you did,
probably
yeah.
my favorite one. Yeah.
I had the opportunity to work with Katie on the instructional design that is sort of setting up the storyboard and the curriculum for the audition course. Remember that, Katie? That was fun. That was fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we had some good times.
And we were a good team, I think. And one of the takeaways I got from that experience, which is I thought cool about that course, is it sort of had a step, what do we do next? Then what happens? And then what happens? And by going through it in that fashion, each step of the way, I hope that we were able to capture every nuance and detail that a family might need to know to really have a leg up on those auditions. Anyways, that process was a lot of fun with you.
I think so too. Robert, you know how busy I am, and I'm on a lot of sets, and that takes up a lot of time. So getting to sit down with you and really think through every single last detail, that we just didn't want to miss anything. We didn't want to miss anything in that video series. And it really helped to talk through it for me to be sure, like, and you're asking, and then what happened? And then what happens? I was, able to really kind of like process again a year's worth of teaching in a video series, so that we don't miss out. We don't go, oh dang, we forgot this. They really needed to know this. We hit everything in that series.
It's a lot of fun. So in regards to just the production, the requirements for energy and sweat equity and all of that in making a course, for anybody that's watching this video that's maybe isn't interested in acting, but is interested in making a course, what advice would you give to a coach, an educator, somebody that's interested in making an online course, as someone who did it for the first time? What were like some of the lessons that you learned?
Yeah, you learn a lot after going through it the first time. Like now I'm ready to make like 6 more courses.
Yeah.
Oh, got it.
We should give you guys certificates.
I like an award or something I can
Yeah, or a medal. Yeah.
I think the best advice I can give anybody that wants to make a course is to be kind to yourself. When something matters so much and it's your life's work, it's difficult. It's not the same as when I'm doing I'm directing or working on a project as an actor, because it's my deepest heart, that has poured out into my work as a teacher, as a coach, as a builder of a studio, an acting program. So I would say that now I know to be kind to myself in the next process, because it was harder than I thought it would be from that standpoint. The work and all of that, everything, should be a lot of work. That makes sense to me. And it was more work than we thought it was. But at the end of the day, it mattered so much that if I could go back and do it again, I would give myself more encouragement to hang in there and to keep going, because there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel, and you're going to see your video series come to life. Whatever happens with it afterwards is kind of not really, completely in all of our control. So that was, a good lesson learned.
I like to tell CourseCREEK clients that it's like making an album or making a TV program or making a movie. It's a creative endeavor. You put all your energy and passion and hope forward. You push all your chips forward, and then you go to work. And that's a lot of work, actually. And it's not uncommon for people to realize that it's more work than they thought it would be. But in the end, you're creating this thing that will run 24/7, and from a business perspective, which is give you a lot of leverage and a lot of scalability when it's done, and if it's marketed properly, it's worth it. It's worth it in the long run.
We're still in that beginning phase to see that come to fruition, but we are very proud of what we did. At the end of the day, we are. I mean, you just have to be, like, because as an actor, as a performer, we always say, like, it's not your business how good it is. It's only your business to make it and do it. And so that's something you got to keep in mind sometimes, I think.
Those are different, being on camera, doing talking head instructional content in a course versus acting in a TV or a movie.
Well, it's completely different when you are yourself. than when you're in a movie. When you're in a movie, you're somebody else and you can slip away and you've done all the, all the studying that you need to do and you show up as that person. But when you're showing up as yourself, I think you want to make sure that you're showing up both authentically and that something about you is real coming through, but also that you're not completely, that at home curling up on the couch, Katie, that there's some level of professionalism. It's a balance. It's more of a balance and trying to like teeter on that balance. And as a character, it's also all written and done for you. So you've memorized your lines, you've worked on your character, you show up, you know what you're supposed to say. But when you're making a video series that you're just speaking from the heart to people, to a camera, directly in the camera, it feels very, very different. I think I'm able to do that because of all the years of working with kids and teens. I'm able to see all their thousands of faces right behind that camera. But when you're on set, as a character, you're talking to another actor, not really into the camera. So it is very different.
I just had an idea. Maybe you could offer a curriculum or a class on like spokesmodel or on camera teaching as something that I guess it's not really acting, but.
Oh no, but I do work with business professionals a lot.
Okay.
On this sort of stuff, especially people who have to do things over Zoom or teleprompter services. Like there's a lot of things that people do, very, very subtle, small changes that they can make. And like with a session or two, I can help them even adjust for their social media posts, or there's just a few things that really go a long way. And like I said, like the authentic you that's inside of there that you want to come through, but it starts getting clouded with all these other things that we put on top of it. So I help people find that balance in themselves. And that's very rewarding to see when that happens.
So Katie, we're almost through with our interview here. We have these two heavy last two questions. What I wanted to ask you is, and I've asked everybody who does this show with me, is share with us if you would please, we'd appreciate it, your hero story, your rising from a phoenix story. Share with us, we all have one of these, a story about when things were sucking, when you just felt like, man, I cannot get a win, perhaps, or made a dumb mistake or something, and then learned from it, got back on your feet, found your strength, and went after the world again. And perhaps as a result of that, now are enjoying the success that you have. Give us an inspiration story, a rags to riches story, if you have one, so to speak.
I do love inspiration stories and I do love rags to riches stories. I personally love to hear them. But one thing I want to say about acting and having done this for a really long time now is that I have those moments all the time. Every actor I know does. I mean, I talk with actors who have accomplished great things. I've talked with Steven Spielberg, who said his kids are still waiting for him to do something good. I think that artists who stick with it a really long time, wonderful things happen along the way. But most of the time you feel like, when am I going to do something great? When is my moment going to come? When is it going to hit? When am I going to have that thing? And what I've come to realize, Robert, is maybe those of us who are just endeavoring always to be working towards what's next, never totally feel like we've done it. We've made it. This is it. And there's little points along the way where you get your first job, and then you get your first paid job is a very big deal. And I remember my son having cancer and needing to be at the hospital. He survived, by the way, needing to be at the hospital a lot, and then getting an opportunity to work with Jennifer Aniston and Steve Zahn. And I remember feeling like, okay, it's not all so horrible right now at this moment in my life. So bad things are going to happen. I guarantee that. That's 100% given. And if you stay with it, so many good things are going to happen along the way that you are going to have your hero story over and over and over again and over again. And you are always going to ask yourself, is this it? Is this what I've done? Is this all I've done? And is that enough? And if it is, great, you can quit and go on or change it up or do something else. And if it's not, then you just keep going. You absolutely just keep going and it will happen. And once you get to that point where you're like, this is it. If I get that series regular on that television show, I will have made it. I will 100% guarantee you, not too long from there, you're going to say to yourself, but I really want to get a lead in a major film. I really want to get an Academy Award. And then people get Academy Awards, they're not just at home going, well, I've really made it. They're like, what next? What next? So if that is alive and well in you, you're going to be just fine.
Perhaps as a vocalist and a vocal coach and students, I like to say that perhaps you didn't make it this thing that you thought that was I'd love to be the lead singer for Iron Maiden. I mean, that'd be great. Perhaps that's not going to happen. But the other thing that you made, which is also successful, a diverge on the path, you just set a goal, keep going, and good things will happen. The good thing that happens might not be the exact same thing that you were targeting to be great. Sometimes that happens, but if it's not that, something else really good will happen. And it's important to embrace that. And that's yours. You made that.
Honestly, Robert, to your point, I was just going to be an actor. I wasn't going to do anything else. And then along the way, I realized I want better roles. So I'm going to produce for myself. And then I produced for myself. And then that film went on to, play in Tribeca Film Festival and be on Academy Award watch list. And I was like, oh, well, that was a surprise. And then after that, I thought, well, I need to teach my daughter acting. And then a whole studio was created with thousands of actors along the way. And just these things that happen that you don't plan for, that you don't know are even greater or just more enriching sometimes. But that's why I say if there's a part in you that just can't not do it, then you're going to be fine, because all these things are going to happen along the way, and you're going to be the phoenix and you're going to be the ashes. You will 100% be the phoenix and the ashes in a rotating cycle. And it just means staying with it, and you'll see which way the wind is blowing that month, that year, but just never quitting and always continuing. When I was a little girl, I dreamt of being an actor, laid in my bed at night and dreamt about it and prayed about it and spoke about it. And it was my greatest heart's desire. And now that I'm a grown adult, being able to say that I am the thing that I dreamt of being as a little girl, whatever success level that means, it brings me great joy, because I know that everybody watching, even the parents out there, maybe they had a dream of what they wanted to be when they were younger. And you think, wow, but I never, could have done that or been that. And it felt as impossible to me. And it just never stopping, never quitting, keeping going. There's a lot of pride I have in that and staying with it.
I mean, you're hugely successful. I'd like to add to that, take risks, like just you get a nutty idea, go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it. It's not my interview, but the stories I could tell you that were something that still exists today, that were created a beautiful, successful thing for me, like touring as a voice coach and things like that, were just simply, the catalyst was simply just being nutty and audacious and brash enough to pick up the phone and just ask somebody to give you a shot, or just go for it, and figure it out along the way.
And now everybody has a cell phone. This is a movie camera. You can shoot beautiful footage on your phone, and you can edit beautiful footage on your phone. And then you have a YouTube channel, you have an audience, you have TikTok, you have social media. I mean, there's just go do it and take the risk. And I think that when I think of risk, what I think of is ego, because I think of risk for me is really not about the doing it and whatever. It's about somebody seeing it and not thinking it's good. So that is really where the risk comes in, because if people weren't worried about whether or not it was good, then they'd just be doing all sorts of things all the time. But it's when we're worried, is this good enough? Are people going to think I'm really dumb? Is this going to be bad?
Yeah.
Hey, look, maybe, yeah, probably, but the risk is do it anyway.
Yeah.
And then the more you do it, the more you do it. A really great friend of mine, I haven't even probably learned this lesson at this point, right? Because I'm still asking the same questions that, I teach to. I said to my friend, I gave him my script. I said, is this good? Is this just going to be embarrassing? And he said, would you just get to failing already? And I was like, man, that is a great piece of advice, because that I can do. But if I set out to make something so good, so perfect. It's going to be on the Academy Award shortlist. I'm panicking, I'm sweating, it's not good enough. I'm probably never going to start. But just knowing that all I have to do is do it, that I can do. I can do that, right? I can do that. So I love that. I love that perspective that he had. And that's why I'm making my short film, was because that has rang in my ears. Doesn't matter how good it is. It's not your business whether it's good. It's just yours to do.
And in my opinion, that's why your young kids and teens, actors and their families should work with you. That's another good reason for it.
Yeah. Well, and I think that a lot of parents, they know this. They live this in their own lives. You know,
Oh, yeah.
we do as adults in so many different ways. And if we can help kids kind of, you know, get a hold of that at a young age, then I just think of what they can accomplish.
Oh, yeah.
I really do.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
excited about that generation. I really think it's a beautiful world ahead of us with them in charge. I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, one last question. It's not really so much a question, but it's a fun thing before we say goodbye. And great interview, great show. Thank you so much. It was fun to get to know you a little bit better and learn about, you know, your business and what your students will be getting from your courses. And
Thank you.
been charming. So look to the camera, share some sage words of wisdom to our listeners in 2 minutes. You only have 2 minutes. A profound lesson or advice you hope they will always remember from viewing this interview today. So look into their eyes, into their souls, and give us some great sage advice. Anything in 2 minutes. Putting you on the spot.
That's okay. I like being put on the spot. When I think about our interview today, and I think about one thing that you might take away, right? It's not whether or not you buy my course and whether or not you believe half of it, okay? What I hope you take away from today is that whatever it is that you are dreaming of doing, it is 100% possible. It is 100% possible. And you are going to have rough moments, and you are going to feel like it's not working, and you're going to feel like maybe it's failing. But if you keep going, if you keep asking questions, if you, like Robert said, keep taking risks, and you keep walking forward. And some days it might even be that you're standing still, but you're still standing in the art, in the dream that you want to have, then I will 100% promise you it'll come to fruition. It will come to fruition. It is a long journey. We always say it's a marathon, and it really is about continuing to keep going. And if you're wherever you are and you're sitting in your bedroom like I was as a little girl, daydreaming about being an actor, if you're somebody who is doing that very thing, then I just want you to know that I did it. It's possible, and you can do it too. And I was from a little small town where there was no acting classes, and there was no television and film industry. There was no way to do what I did, but I did it, and I want you to do it with me too. So I want to see you. I want to hear from you, and keep going.
Great. Thank you. Katie, where can people find your courses and your website? Do you have a website?
I do. Yeah. It's actingforkidsanteens.com. And we're on social, you know, we're on Instagram at Acting for Kids and Teens. And we just want to hear from people. Like, we just want to know, like, what are you doing? What have you been in? What are your hopes? What are your dreams? Pop us a note. Say hi. I would love to say hi to you. We'll get back to you as fast as we can. And thank you to Robert and his team for helping this come to fruition. And I look forward to seeing everybody online.
Thank you, Katie, for your time today. Wishing you happy holidays. And so, yeah, go check out Katie's program at actingforkidsanteens.com. I'm Robert with CourseCREEK. And until next time, think big. Bye.